I played Elden Ring for the first time in 2024 and it's hands down one of the best games I've ever played, and I'm going to break down why. Firstly, the graphics. From overly stunning landscapes to grossly disturbing details, this game is immense. From Software really did this game a solid by putting the time into the graphics. Now, Elden Ring is the first open world Souls-like game. Now for me, this is huge. Rather than having to Google every 5 minutes where to go next like I did with previous Souls games, I found myself just wandering around. See a wicked looking castle on the hill over there? Let's get over to it and let's see if we can clear it. Randomly stumble across a locked door? Now I want to see what's inside. Strange symbol or blemish on the map? Now I'm going to find out what that is. For me, this breaks the game up into more enjoyable playthroughs. Don't get me wrong, Dark Souls 1 has a special place in my heart. However, the go here, do this, don't go there yet, you need to kill this person first, but before you do that, make sure you do this sort of mentality limits the player in following a linear path instead of just figuring it out, giving the player option to come back and do things later, or sometimes not at all. Now this rolls into my next point, quests. Now in most games you have a main quest line and along the way you'll come across side quests, but in a lot of games this feels just like fluff, added for the sake of it. I normally find that side quests are normally fetch quests which send you into already explored areas in exchange for a reward, most likely in-game currency or consumable items. Now Elden Ring's mentality is, fuck you, I'm not giving you a quest log, and if you do not stumble across this NPC in a very obscure location and listen to their dialogue very carefully, you will miss entire areas of the map, hours of gameplay, and you will not receive some of the best items in the game. Now, that's pretty awesome if you ask me. It puts all the pressure on the player to actually pay attention to the dialogue, and something that From Software has always done. You have to dissect what the NPC says, complete certain actions before other events in the game occur, or the quest line is voided until your next playthrough. Instead of just giving in and providing the player a way to track quest lines, like most modern RPGs do, it adds a sense of mystery and problem solving the player has to figure out. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I think it's pretty cool. Now another thing that I really appreciate with the dialogue in Elden Ring is it's short, sharp, and it's only important information. Now if I compare this to my playthrough of The Witcher, halfway through that game, I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on because I just started skipping all the dialogue. Every man and his dog would tell you a 20-minute story about his lore that I didn't give a fuck about, providing no useful information, so I just skipped over it. Where Elden Ring flips it on its head, you're provided chunks of information which are important and stand out, and sometimes quite funny.
Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength
Like I just
of
said,
runes,
unfortunately you get no
and
bitches.
without an
Now bosses and player progression. Now it goes without saying, bosses in Souls-like games are supposed to be really, really hard. The risk and reward is higher, making these scenarios more intense. You'll find some bosses, and some aimless enemies, stupidly fucking hard. And this guy in particular can go fuck himself. No! Are you fucking kidding me? I'm dead. Fuck off! I can't do it. The first time I fought the Crucible Knight, I died 83 times and made an entire video on it. But this is part of the game. You'll spend hours learning attack patterns and inputs, and once you finally beat that boss, the sense of accomplishment you get is huge, and the reward that follows matches that. Or you can just search up on YouTube how to cheese the boss, but come on man, that's not the Elden Lord way.
I need you more now than ever, you stupid dog.
Not to mention that the bosses just look insane, the attention to detail is crazy. You compile that with a bunch of complex, in-depth lore behind that person, it will make you feel like you're fighting a demigod, because you are. Leading back to one of my previous points, Melania, the hardest boss in Souls-like history, is an optional boss. You can accidentally miss her by not doing a quest line, which is just so cool. And finally, the vast amount of builds, weapons and armour in the game. Respecking is featured in a lot of RPGs, but Elden Ring does it slightly differently. Instead of going to speak to someone and paying someone in-game currency to reset your skill points, I'm comparing this to the Borderlands franchise, you have to find larval tears, which are a limited resource in the world, and exchange them with Renala once you defeat her to change your stats. Because of the rarity of these larval tears, you have to pay attention to respecking, because if you lean into a playstyle you don't enjoy, or into a weapon which isn't as fun as you thought it would be, you're back to square one. With the bolted on effect that there is a total of 308 weapons to use in this game, picking the right one won't happen first time. And again, the Souls-like mentality is incorporated, the risk and reward of doing this is so high. Now while I'm on weapons, just try them. It is simple as that, just try them. Now I hate to say it, but when I play video games, I'm sort of a min-maxer. So my initial playthrough, the first 2 hours I followed a build guide to become the most overpowered as quick as possible, but when I realised I didn't like this playstyle, I'd wasted a bunch of time, a bunch of effort and a bunch of in-game resources. And my final little input is I accidentally came across the Bloodhound's Fang, which kind of worked with the build I just built, and the rest is history. This weapon carried me through my entire first playthrough. So just because you have the most DPS or the most damage per hit, doesn't mean you're going to have fun. Use some different weapons and find out what works well with you. And I figured this out too late. Don't sleep on spells. They're fun as fuck. At the time of recording this video, I did have a horrendous cold, so please ignore the nasally voice. But if you did enjoy this video, please let me know down below. Let me know what you think. Like, sub, flick on the notification bell just to get told every time I post. I will be playing the new Shadow of the Erdtree DLC when it comes out. But most importantly, take it easy out there. Peace.